The G20 summit in South Africa ended today and the United States was not there. Why? Because Donald Trump boycotted the summit entirely.
Hi lovelies, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Belinda Strana. Thank you so much for all the love and support. To my returning subscribers, those people that share my videos, leave commentaries, and also educate each and every one of ours. You guys are the real MVP. So lovelies, I came across these teachers on my For You and I thought to share where people are reacting to the fact that the G20 summit was supposed to happen, which already has been concluded. But the thing is that Orange Man actually boycotted because he decided to bully this South African president, but they didn't fall for it. He goes as far as to talk about how he wouldn't want to attend because a claim of Afrikaners are being, died in South Africa. Lovelies, I'm just going to roll the clip as well as some of other stitches I was able to put together because the world is really laughing and mockery. Please leave your own thought in the comment section of what you think of this video, and please do not forget that we do not support any form of bullying and harassment. We are just here for educational information.
The G20 summit in South Africa concluded Sunday. It was the first time the meeting was held in the African continent. The U.S. boycotted the meeting, citing false allegations that South Africa is mistreating its white minority Afrikaners. Leaders gathered at the summit adopted a joint declaration to address the climate crisis and other global challenges without input from the United States. The White House claimed South Africa had, quote, weaponized their G20 presidency to undermine the G20's founding principles, unquote.
So the G20 summit happened over the past, I want to say 48 to 72 hours. Now, for those of y'all that don't know, the United States had been trying to bully Ramaphosa, who is the president of South Africa, into basically having the G20 summit here in America, in which they made it perfectly clear, we've had it in America numerous times, and every time we have it in America, nothing actually gets accomplished. It's nothing more than a three-ring circus, and we are sick and tired of that shit. We have stuff to do. So America decides, okay, well, since you're not going to come to my birthday party, I'm not going to come, since you don't want to have it in America, you're not invited to my birthday party. And Ramaphosa said, all right. And America said, well, we're going to boycott the G20 summit. And if y'all want to be my friend, y'all going to boycott it too. France showed up. Everybody else, they showed up. Everybody except America showed up. And guess what? They proceeded on like nothing had changed. That's what you get. Not quite the bully you thought you were, huh? Aw, it's okay. So during the G20 summit, they decided to move forward with Ukraine basically being strong-armed into taking the deal in which Russia would come out on top in the deal. So essentially, the United States put together a comprehensive deal in which Russia would get the upper hand. And a lot in the deal basically states that Russia gets, pretty much everything they already have and then some when it comes to the peace deal. And that was the only way, honestly, they were going to get Russia to sign said deal. Additionally, Ramaphosa gave a compelling speech, that of which I've had the beauty of being able to see on other people's accounts, but I think that a lot of people should watch his speech, in which he talks about how the days of America being the bully is over. They're done. They're done with being pushed around. They're done with being treated as if they have to listen to them. We're done with being treated as if just because you may have more money that you get to treat other countries differently. Just because you have more support, you get to treat other countries differently, or just the simple fact that your skin color is different. You get to push everybody around. Those days are over. We are all equal. And making it a clear indication as to who the new leaders of the free world is. Now, guys, I think that we should also pay attention to the fact that South Africa is a part of BRICS. In fact, they're one of I'm pretty sure they're the S in BRICS. So it feels as if America stayed out of the G20 summit because they didn't want to agree to a lot of the things that they knew that they would have had to agree with and they would be outmanned and outnumbered on. Like America not being the leader anymore of the G20, not being the leader of the G7s or even the G5s. So at this point in time, seeing as though they all were on, the G20s were all on one accord except for America, it looks like things are quite literally shifting and changing. I mean, Ramaphosa came through swinging, setting the tone for the future that we're not going to tolerate your or Israel's bullshit. And moving forward, we have no problem leaving you out of any and all discussions regarding the entire world. You can be upset and you can be mad from over there, but we're going to move forward with our countries and we're going to do whatever we got to do to make sure everyone is taken care of and that our citizens are safe from here on out. What do you guys think? Now, there are some videos. It's approximately a 3-minute, 11-second video that is loaded onto YouTube that I feel like you guys should go ahead and take a look at of Ramaphosa's speech. If you just search the keywords Ramaphosa G20 summit, it should populate of his ending speech and how compelling it was. But I think that this is a new dawn. It's a new day for South Africa because South Africa basically put America on notice like there's a new fucking sheriff in town, bitch, and it's not you, and we can do whatever the fuck we want to do. We're all equal. You're nobody's manager and you're nobody's leader. Like, that was some gangster shit for South Africa to do. I fuck with South Africa for that. I'm still pissed about the femicide going on in South Africa. What are we gonna do about that? Ramaphosa, what are we gonna do about that? But other than that, I mean, seeing South Africa stand up to America and then was able to like get America's allies on their side, like that's some gangster ass shit. Let me know what y'all think, because this shit is crazy.
The G20 summit in South Africa ended today and the United States was not there. Why? Because Donald Trump boycotted the summit entirely. If you didn't know, the G20 summit is where global world leaders coordinate on global issues. It's the steering wheel that helps lead global cooperation. This is the first time that one of the G20 summit founders just completely did not show up entirely, and this is what this means. Essentially, without having any United States representation at this summit, we were left out of conversations about economy. We were left out of conversations about climate change. We were left out of conversations about security. We were left out of conversations about global crises in its entirety because Donald Trump boycotted the entire summit based on the idea that the treatment of white South Africans is not something that he agrees with, and for that reason, we had no one there. Kind of seems like the G20 summit would be the place to talk about it, wouldn't it? I believe that regardless of if you agree with U.S. politics or not, the way that we are interpreted internationally should matter regardless of what is going on internally in this country. When the United States takes a seat on the sidelines, it gives more space for other countries to move to the forefront. China, Russia, Brazil, all of these countries that are looking to navigate around the United States not being involved, we're giving them the opportunity to do so. And it does not make much sense to me. I don't understand the reasoning or rationale behind boycotting the summit. There are reports from South Africa stating that what Donald Trump is claiming is not true. And in that sense, I don't really know what we're doing anymore. I'm literally just here at this point just telling y'all what's going on, but it's not adding up to me. Not gonna lie. But the picture happened with all of the global leaders shaking hands, seemingly like they do every year, and the United States was not there. What a shocker.
So here is a quick reflection. Our new adopted Prime Minister, Carney, is down in South Africa at the G20 summit, rocking it, doing inking deals, multi-billion-dollar deals with UAE for construction in Canada, trade deals with Denmark. He's meeting with Macron. Like every picture I see, he's like meeting with a different leader and how we're setting up some trade agreement with Canada and them. Okay, G20. US is in that, right?
I think so.
Shouldn't the current resident of the United States in the White House, instead of meeting with Mamdani on a Friday afternoon in the Oval, not down in South Africa talking trade deals?
So Donald Trump has decided to pull America out of the G20 summit, which is taking place in South Africa. And he did a post, True Social, all in caps, that kind of thing. Donald, why are you shouting? But anyway, he's pulled him out, and nobody from America is going. Like, I mean, this is the first time that I can remember that no representation from the United States went didn't go to a G20 summit. This is actually a really big deal. And because the sending an American delegation to the G20 is an opportunity to delegate and negotiate on America's behalf to get deals to increase cooperation and partnership for the good of the American people. And by cutting this tie, Donald Trump is potentially cutting more deals and opportunities for the American people. And I don't think a lot of people don't realize how serious this is. Anyway, source for this is the BBC. My name is Nick. I would love you guys to give me a follow. And by the way, folks, I just want to say thank you for all the support. You're all beautiful, intelligent, sexy, and
States. Why is the United States boycotting South Africa's G20 summit? World leaders from Asia, Europe and Latin America are all here in Johannesburg for the first G20 to be held on African soil. But for the first time in G20 history, the United States, the world's biggest economy, is not here. US President Donald Trump said it was a total disgrace that South Africa was hosting this summit, citing widely discredited white genocide claims. The Americans have even taken issue with the theme, solidarity, equality, sustainability, calling it anti-American. The rift deepened this week when the South African president said he'd received notice at the last minute that the US was going to take part in some shape or form. But the White House accused him of running his mouth, saying that they were just going to send a US embassy representative for the handover because they're due to host next year. But South Africa says this is a leaders' summit. They can't just hand over to a low-level official. So what will happen at the end? Perhaps the handover will go to an empty chair. We'll wait and see. Why?
Furious world leaders at the G20 in South Africa made a powerful statement against the United States boycott of the G20, which is being held in South Africa. The Trump regime is boycotting the G20 in South Africa because Donald Trump has fabricated that there is a white genocide taking place in South Africa. So he says the United States is out, to which the world leaders in the G20, or should I call it the G19, they're like, great, we don't want you here. When you're here, we have to deal with your drama, your baby behavior, and all of the baggage that comes with you, and you're like an asset for Putin. Why the hell would we want you here? So the G19, no longer the G20, they did something unprecedented. So they gave their united declaration of the G20, or now the G19, immediately, right when the conference starts. They did it. Now that never happens. What they normally do is you wait until the end of the conference, and then there's a lot of negotiation going back and forth about what the declaration is, the joint statement coming out of the G20 would be. Not this time. So Cyril Ramaphosa, the president of South Africa, he, on behalf of the united G19 minus the United States, says, here are our values. Multilateralism can and does deliver. And Donald Trump's whole position is being anti-multilateralism. Trump's whole thing is go it alone. So the G20, now the G19, immediately said, we stand together, we support each other, we support multilateralism, we don't need the United States here. Watch as the president of South Africa, who's hosting the G19, says that. Here, play this clip.
This G20 Leader Summit has a responsibility not to allow the integrity and the credibility of the G20 to be weakened. In fact, from this summit, we should have a sense that the G20 has been strengthened. We thank all delegations that have worked together with us in good faith to produce a worthy G20 outcome document for this historic leaders meeting. The G20 underscores the value of the relevance of multilateralism. It recognizes that the challenges that we face can only be resolved through cooperation, collaboration, and partnership. The adoption of the declaration from the summit sends an important signal to the world that multilateralism can and does deliver. It sends a message of hope and solidarity across the world. It tells the world that as the leaders of the G20, we will keep fast to our...
Well, this is embarrassing. So it turns out that Donald Trump didn't want to go to the G20 summit because of some nonsense genocide story. And it turns out that he did actually send a partial delegation. And so when he's saying, oh, we can't go there, we couldn't possibly go there, he did actually send delegates. Now, the closing ceremony was earlier, and during the closing ceremony, the US delegation, the junior delegation, as it turns out, was refused entry to the G20 closing summit. Apparently, they cried a lot and were very, very annoyed and very frustrated that they weren't allowing Americans into the South African G20 summit. Folks, your comments, would love to hear them.
I'm not even surprised anymore. As we all know, the G20 has been summited in Africa for the first time in history. And almost simultaneously, the United States President Donald Trump announced that he will be boycotting the G20 summit this year. Basically a de facto boycott, which means no government officials from the United States will be entering South Africa. Now, what is important about this news? Not that we really want imperialist, capitalist forces right here in South Africa colluding and collaborating with our own dirty politicians. Collaboration, international solidarity, collaboration is important. But the importance in this message is to note the dangers of small groups like AfriForum and Solidariteit in their messaging, in them conveying a message of hatred and dishonesty, right? Because this has swayed President Donald Trump into saying that there's a genocide and that is why he's boycotting, which I don't think is the reason. This is strange. First G20 summit in Africa, President Donald Trump, who conveniently also believes there's a white genocide in South Africa, decides to boycott. Wake up and smell the coffee.
This summit was actually boycotted by Orange Man and others because they feel that South Africa were, maltreating the minority Afrikaners. They just want to keep on pushing this narrative of South Africa unaliving white Afrikaners, even though so many people has come out, even Afrikaners has come out to debunk this claim of South Africa oppressing the minority Afrikaners. Note that these Afrikaners are one of the richest people that owns both land and farms and what have you in South Africa. Like they own majority of the wealth of South Africa, but it is said that these people are the ones that is being oppressed by South Africa. There was a time when these South African refugees were seeking asylum or seeking refugee status in the state, which they were all given. After which, one thing led to the other, they now found out that the promise that they have been told is not what was given to them. And this is exactly the reason why most of them decided to come out like, okay, we are not actually facing any form of genocide. Like, why is it that these people want to continuously to push this propaganda of South Africans committing genocide towards Afrikaners? Even though there are some stitches I put up here where some group of Afrikaners were unaliving and feeding some South African farmers to their pigs. I don't know if you guys still remember that stitch I put up here. A South African farmer and his friends or colleagues decided to pew some South African people. I think that's 2 women and a man, and feeding to the pigs. The same people that were said to be going through genocide why is it that these people, even though they know the truth, but they just want to keep on pushing a stereotype, and they thought they were going to use that as a base to bully South Africa not to host the SSED summit. And they actually thought that the world was going to come to a stop because they chose not to participate. Like, come on, Orange Man actually thought that he would just go ahead to keep on bullying people. You know, there's a point in life when you keep on doing something, and at a point in life, people get tired of you. People get tired of your constant bullying, and everybody just want to start defending themselves. The world is fast moving. The world is doing their things with or without anyone's permission. Like, the better Orange Man knows this, the better for every other person, because you think that the world don't know what is going on with the Epstein file, with this and that, immigration, ICE raids. Like, the world is seeing all of these things, and when you are constantly known for stuff like this, people just don't regard you anymore. People don't even regard you anymore. People don't see you as important as you see yourself anymore. You know, everyone cannot just come dance under your tune. You cannot just keep bullying people, you know. So, at the time, people get tired of you. I could remember when the president of the South Africa was actually at the Oval Office, the way at which he was all mocked. Anyways, I am so happy that these summits went on, even with or without Orange Man. That is to show that, okay, the world is not going to stop because you chose to give a command. And it's so bad that the country that is actually people look upon, respected, and all of that now is just disappointing people because of the rate of what Orange Man has done, you know. Anyway, lovely, so now just leave me your own thought in the comment section of what you think of this video. And please do not forget that we do not support any form of bullying and harassment. We're just here for educational and informative purposes. So please share this video, subscribe to this channel if I hate to do that, like, and I will see you lovely when I upload the next one.
Me your own thought in the comment section of what you think of this video. Please do not forget that we do not, support any form of bullying and harassment. We're just here for educational and informative purposes. So please share this video, subscribe, leave a thought, and I will see you lovely when I upload the next one.